What's going on, YouTube? Bear here is Bears Mix. Welcome to my channel. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Got a little bit to talk about today. Big changes happening. Unexpected changes happening. Starting with, well, yours truly, I'm stuck on jury duty this week for my 5th time. That's right, your boy's been on jury duty 5 times now. First time was in the mid 90s. I sat on a federal grand jury, or not a grand jury, but rather a federal trial jury in Providence, Rhode Island. The defendant was a Latin King member, and we ended up acquitting him of his charges. Second case I sat on was a domestic abuse case in Providence, Rhode Island, in state court. That went to conviction. Then when I relocated and moved back to Detroit, Michigan, I ended up getting stuck on jury duty there in the early 2000s. I shouldn't say early 2000s. It was around 2004, 2005, so mid 2000s. Uh, that case, they ended up dropping the charges on that case. Some new evidence came up, like right after we were seated after voir dire, and we were called in and dismissed. The judge said there was new evidence that came to light that proved the defendant's innocence, and the case was dismissed. Thank us for our service. Then I got out to when I moved back down to Las Vegas, Nevada. I shouldn't say moved back down to when I moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. Uh, I got called in there. That one, the defendant entered a guilty plea. He took a plea bargain on the first day of the trial, right after the prosecutor's opening comments, his opening argument there. Shortly after, we went on lunch, came back and found out that during lunch, the defendant decided to take a plea bargain, and that was in a fatal DUI accident. Now, here I am, a few years later, up here in Anchorage, Alaska, and, well, got chosen for jury duty again. When you move to a new state and you register to vote, count on getting called up for jury duty within the first couple of years. We haven't gone to voir dire yet, so I don't know what, if any, case I will be on. I might end up going this whole term. It's a 1-week term. If they need jury, they say, okay, come on in, we need you. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully, I can make it through the next couple days without being called up, and I won't have to go sit on a jury. Although I wouldn't mind sitting on a grand jury, which is a lot different than a regular trial jury. In a grand jury, you hear evidence on multiple cases and decide whether you feel that individual that's being accused of a crime should be tried for that crime. And you could end up sitting on 3, 4, 5, 10 different freaking cases during that grand jury period. Who knows? So yeah, I got that going on for me. Excuse me. So yeah, we're gonna wait and see what happens with all that. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, the other big news, your boy's unemployed now. That's right, I just got laid off from Penrose Express. It was supposed to take effect next Monday. Then they turned around and they called me back and the other day, Monday, and said, "Well, since you're out anyways for jury duty this week, we're just going to go ahead and start the layoff now. You don't need to come to work anymore." So that puts me in an extremely tight spot financially. I got like 5 different companies I'm looking at to come to work for. One of them I do, but at the same time, I don't want the job. It's a uh, company driver. They pay 70 cents a mile. They guarantee a minimum weekly gross of $1,750 a week. So say if you don't something break down or something happens or there's a layover or whatever, and you don't run enough miles that week to make at least $1,750, they pay you $1,750 regardless. It's 2 weeks out for 10 days home time, and they will pay to fly me from here to Vegas out to their yard in Nebraska, and then not Vegas, I'm sorry, here in Alaska. Fly me back down to Nebraska for my 10 for my 8 weeks out, 2 months. Then I go back to the yard, park the truck, take 10 days off. They fly me back home, take my 10 days, and after my 10 days, I get to fly back down and go back to work. I am considering that one. As I've told you guys before, there are two tanker companies that are also trying to get me to go to work for them. One is out of Missouri, the other is out of Florida. I really want the one out of Florida, but I just don't like that they don't do lease program, and their pay schedule is really, really weird. To make any money, you got to drive at least 400 miles a day, which is not hard to do unless you're in a tanker. They pay you $200 for any time you go into Canada. So you get a $200 border crossing. Uh, they used to pay you $200 both ways. Now it's only $200 both ways if you're loaded coming back. If you bobtail, or not bobtail, but deadhead back empty, unladen, they don't pay you for the border crossing anymore. They used to, but apparently they don't anymore, starting this year, which kind of sucked to find that out. Now, if I was already there working for them, when they made that change, I'd still get the pay both ways, but because I'm not, That one not only requires stinker endorsement, it requires hazmat endorsement, which I do have. I have a doubles, triples, tanker. I have hazmat. I have my TWIC. I have passenger. I used to have the G endorsement, which is for autonomous self-driving vehicles. There was a company I was working for that was thinking about testing out a few of them, so they offered some of us a little extra money to go get our G endorsement, which you can't just go out and get. Your company has to be approved ahead of time by the state that you reside in and request that you be given the test to get your G endorsement. Up here in Alaska, there is no G endorsement, so when I moved from Nevada to Alaska, I lost that endorsement. The company I was driving for at the time ended up not getting any autonomous vehicles, but it was still nice to have that extra little endorsement on there. The endorsement I do not have and I've never had is school bus endorsement. I'm also talking to two different companies. One's a rent to own type of lease program. They are offering 80% of the gross. So 20% of the gross goes to them. It also covers your plates, your insurance, your bobtail insurance, your work insurance, your workers' comp insurance, stuff like that. Uh, and it's not bad. I mean, they're saying they're guaranteeing $8,000 to $11,000 a week gross, which is doable. Get 80% of that. Then of course I got to take out my fuel and any other expenses I have on top of it. Still, I'm going to be taking home $5,000 to $6,000 a week on that, which won't be too bad. And I just grab loads as I want from their load board. Uh, the truck lease payment, I think, was depending on the year of the truck and the model. It's anywhere from $350 to $975 a week, depending on the truck year and model. Uh, it's something I'm strongly considering, but we'll see what happens. And the other one is just another lease purchase program where they're paying you 75% of the load, but you have to put in 25 cents per driven mile into a maintenance fund, and then you put another 25 cents a mile into a escrow fund up to $10,000. Once you get $10,000 into the escrow, it stops, and that's just there to help with your maintenance. Or you can draw from it anytime you want if you need some extra cash on the road. So we'll see what happens there. Still up in the air. I think I'm gonna end up going with the first one. I really don't want to go back to doing reefers, but They're the only ones that will foot the bill for me traveling back and forth from here to there. I'm debating, am I going to put everything into storage and close out this apartment? Or am I going to keep the apartment, just leave everything in place? But I mean, I got a lot of valuables in here, like my firearms, my computers, my studio. I've got one, two, three, four, five. I've got three desktops, seven laptops, and my NAS system. Um, so, I mean, I got quite a bit of money tied up just in electronics. That's not including things like my 65-inch TV over here to my right, your left. So, on the freight broker side, one thing I will not be doing is accepting any loads into or out of not only New York City, but New York State as a whole. Uh, as it is, I don't do anything on anywhere on the West Coast. I won't accept the book any loads on the West Coast into or out of California, Washington, or Oregon. They're just too anti-truck, especially California. Now, yeah, there's a big thing going on with the truckers boycott in New York City over the unusual treatment of President Donald Trump in that so-called defamation case, where the woman lied and won money. Couple things here. There were a lot of reversible errors made on that. Trump will win that on appeal. The judge did a lot of things he shouldn't have done. He should have recused himself on day one because there are some conflicts of interest. He's been an anti-Trump, very vocal anti-Trump guy since before the case even came to his court. So right there alone, he should have recused himself. There was a conflict of interest. He refused to allow a jury trial. And basically, on day one, he said, well, you're guilty. I've already found you guilty without hearing any of the evidence. You're guilty. This trial is just to decide how much money you're going to have to pay the state or the city of New York. That ridiculous $353 million judgment against him. Well, that violates state law, believe it or not. There's an obscure state law that puts a limit on compensatory and um, uh, I forget the other thing he got, what the biggest part of it is. Yeah, compensatory is what the state says, okay, this is what you're guilty of. And then you got the other one. I can't think of what that other type of judgment is called off the top of my head. It starts with a P. Um, where, well, I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, both of those, the award uh, come up by the judge are invalid. They grossly exceed the state maximum allowances. Punitive, that's it. For punitive damages and for compensatory damages. Um, so that's going to get tossed out on appeal. They have no choice but to toss it. That ruling, that judgment violates state law. And of course, you got all that stuff going on there with the judge there. Making multiple reversible errors. Like day one, I already know you're guilty. I'm not going to let you have a jury trial. We're just trying to decide how guilty you are and how much you're going to pay. It don't work that way, Aragon or Organo or whatever your name is. And apparently there's something new that's come to light. I didn't catch all of it, but there's some new crap come out against that judge that puts him in a very bad position to begin with, where where he shouldn't be on the bench. Period. So we'll see what happens with that. Then you got that whole truckers boycott of New York City, which hey, I'm behind it. I support it. The city's crying about um, migrants and attacking cops and doing this and the other thing. Well, you elected idiots that made New York City a sanctuary city where you're going to ignore federal law. Well, hey, you get what you asked for. But they're kicking kids out of schools, so they can turn the schools into makeshift shelters. You got crime rings running rampant across the city. You got criminal migrants attacking cops. No vetting of these guys. No idea who they are, what their real names are, or anything. If they're even telling you the right countries they're coming from. All here illegally. Putting veterans out on the street to house these illegals that have no business being here. It just, it makes my brain hurt. I know I keep saying I want to keep politics off this channel, but right now, that's all there is politics. Um, but yeah, well, this is going to be a short video. We're only 15 minutes in. Seems like I've been talking an hour already. It's 02:47 in the morning on, let's see, Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday, February 21st. 02:47 in the morning, or 2:47 a.m. for those of you that can't tell time. Anyways, just couldn't sleep and decided to put something out here. I'm just at a loss right now between finding out my father has cancer, two different forms of cancer, I should say. They just treated him in December for prostate, and then last month they found out he's got bladder, and they did some tests and some surgeries on him, and it's not good. Then I get hit with this jury duty and get laid off from my job. So yeah, I'm running rapid right now trying to find new work. But yeah, it looks like on the first of the month I'm just going to take that job with the reefer company. Work for them at least 2 months, get some money built up. Take 10 days off. I might give them not 2 weeks, 8 weeks. I might give them 12 weeks, work 3 months, so I can take more than 10 days off, then fly up, have them fly me home, pack everything into a trailer, and then drive it down. So I'm going to have to leave my vehicle up here this whole time. Checked a couple storage lots. I got parking at $110 a month for my pickup truck. Storage up here is not cheap. I'm looking at $200 a month if I put everything in storage, which is still a lot cheaper than $1,000 a month for the apartment, which I just rented on January 1st. So I'm going to have to break this lease. I'm already talking to a couple places now. I've been wanting to move down to Dallas anyways. I want to move my freight brokerage down there so I can get more involved in that and get that really running. I mean, I got it up. It's been aging for 3 years now. I'm starting to do a little bit of work with it. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, that's it for now. I am kind of tired. Just having trouble sleeping with everything that's going on. Like I said, I felt the need to get up here and share and let you guys know where we're at, what's going on, and what the future may or may not hold for yours truly. And for those of you that are wondering what happened to the beard, well, I had a big knot here in the corner. Tried to trim it off, but I ended up taking off too much of the beard, so I decided to just cut it all off and start from scratch. So it'll be back. It will be back. I will be your purple bearded bastard again shortly. Anyways, guys, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Keep it between the ditches, keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down. I'll see you out there on the roadways, and go Army, beat Navy.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.